everyone, today you will hear an interesting story. I worked as a hookah man in a small, cozy cafe on the seashore. My job was to prepare and serve hookahs for our guests. I was responsible for creating an atmosphere of comfort and coziness so that every visitor could enjoy their vacation and relax. My day began with the preparation of hookahs. I carefully selected quality tobaccos and blends to offer our guests the best taste and aroma. Then I was engaged in setting up and preparing hookah machines so that they work perfectly and bring maximum pleasure. When customers came to the cafe, I helped them choose the most suitable tobacco flavor and blend, taking into account their preferences. I tried to offer them a variety of fragrances, from classic to exotic, so that everyone could find something to their liking. While working, I created a cozy atmosphere where guests could relax, enjoy a hookah, and have a pleasant conversation. I offered them various drinks to complete their vacation and make it even more enjoyable. Often I interacted with the guests, listened to their stories, and did my best to make them feel comfortable and at ease. My job required attention and technical skills. I've always tried to keep abreast of the latest trends and innovations in the world of hookahs in order to offer our guests the best and most relevant options. Being a hookah man in this cafe was not just a job, it was a way of life. I enjoyed every moment spent at the hookah table, watching our guests relax and enjoy the sea breeze. This job allowed me to create unique experiences and meet different people from all over the world, expanding my horizons and enriching myself with experience. Working as a hookah man, I was not just a performer, but also a creator of pleasant memories and emotions for our guests. This work gave me satisfaction and joy, and I was proud that I could bring pleasure to people with my profession. But it was the most ordinary day, which passed calmly and routinely until one day I saw Sarah. It was a fateful meeting. Sarah's appearance was amazingly beautiful. Her long blonde hair fell to her shoulders, and her eyes were full of sadness and loss. She was dressed in a simple dress and seemed a little lost. My heart sank when I saw Sarah in such a distressed state. I decided that I should help her as soon as I could. When I approached Sarah, she was looking into the distance, her eyes filled with sadness and worry. I carefully sat down next to her and said, "Hello. I noticed that you look very upset. Perhaps I can help in some way." "Well, the situation I'm in is really difficult. I came here to relax and unwind, but all my things and money were stolen from me. I feel defenseless and in a hopeless situation. I understand how difficult it can be for you, but don't worry, we will find a way out of this situation. First of all, my name is Danny." "What is your name?" "My name is Sarah. It's very nice to meet you." "Danny," Sarah answered hopefully. "Mutually." "Sarah, now tell me more about what happened and we'll try to figure it out. I left my things in the hotel room when I went for a walk along the coast. When I returned, everything was gone. My passport, money, documents were stolen from me. I don't know what to do. Of course, this is very serious. First, Let's notify the police and fill out a statement about the theft. They should start an investigation and help you recover your lost items. As for the money and documents, I can offer temporary housing and support while we sort this out. Thank you, Danny, for responding so quickly and offering your help. I just don't know what I would do without you. You know, unforeseen situations sometimes happen in life, and the main thing is to find support in difficult moments. We'll get through this together. Sarah, I promise. Our conversation continued. Our entire conversation was filled with mutual understanding and sympathy. We already at the first stage began to feel that we can rely on each other. Our voices penetrated the sound of the sea, and with every word I spoke, I felt that we were getting closer. That unforeseen situation brought us together, and I was ready to do everything possible to help Sarah and make her vacation comfortable and safe. Sarah's grateful for my help and agreed to accept the offer. Over the next few days, I tried to organize all the necessary help and support for Sarah. We spent time together, talked, and I tried to cheer her up. Gradually, our bond grew stronger, and we began to spend more and more time together. I learned about her hobbies, her dreams, and ambitions. The Koreans supported each other, becoming a reliable support in difficult times. Perhaps over time, our relationship grew into something more. We fell in love and decided to be together. After a while, I proposed a marriage to Sarah and she gladly agreed. Our life together has become full of happiness and love. We Christmas patrons and inspired each other, made plans for the future, and enjoyed every moment spent together. We realized that our meeting was fate, and we are grateful to her for bringing us to each other. Thus began our love story, which continues to this day. Sarah and I have been happily living together for many years, supporting each other in all endeavors and enjoying each new day spent together. I myself did not notice how 16 years have already passed since we got married. Sarah worked as an administrator in a restaurant, and I also got a job as a bartender in a decent restaurant. I learned various tricks to put on a bartending show. So I started making more money, and Sarah had enough for everything we needed. These were fun and eventful days in which I felt incredibly happy. One day, my boss asked me to go on a small business trip. He promised me a substantial bonus for me to go to his friend's outdoor wedding ceremony. I was supposed to put on a bartending show there. The celebration was to take place in a neighboring city, which in general, I needed to stay there for several days because the event was planned to be quite large-scale and stretched over several days. Extra money will never hurt me, so I willingly agreed to go there. I told Sarah about my plans and began to pack for this business trip. I would have gladly taken Sarah with me, but she had her own job where the boss did not spoil much with extra days off. So I packed up and went alone. It was a very colorful evening. The ceremony was held in a chic place with beautiful green lawns, mowed lawns, and fountains. I entertained the audience with my tricks and made various cocktails. This evening passed quickly, Then the next day, I was informed that for the next few days, there was no need to continue the bartending show, so I could safely go home. I quickly got up and headed towards my house. I drove up to the house just in time for Sarah's workday. I decided to surprise her because I still had time to come home before her. I quickly ran to the grocery store and bought a bottle of rose and Sarah's favorite blue cheese and some more fruit. There was also a wonderful flower shop not far from our house where I bought wonderful fresh violets that Sarah loved so much. Satisfied and happy, I approached the front door of our house. I wanted to insert the key, but suddenly I realized that the door was not locked. Surprised, I stepped inside and looked around. Did Sarah forget to close the door? Suddenly, I heard some rustle on the second floor. I didn't understand what was happening. Like the rustling came from the guest room. I cautiously approached this room and more distinctly heard the creak of the sofa and women's moans. My thoughts turned into a dark ball of anger. Had Sarah betrayed me so easily? Well, nothing. Bitches, now I will arrange a sweet life for you. A thought and burst into the room. These bastards were actively moving and writhing under the sheets. I deftly grabbed this sheet in such a way that these bastards were like in a bag. I pulled them off the bed and onto the floor. Now, creatures, I will arrange for you. So as soon as I'm away for a few days on business, you bring home a lover. Thank you for not being in our bedroom, but it won't help you much. Sarah, oh, you dirty creature. Now I'll take you out into the fresh air. I yelled as I dragged those bastards up the stairs from the second floor. But then I finally, in addition to screeching, I began to hear voices. It was not like Sarah's voice. Suddenly the front door opened and Sarah entered the house. What's going on here? Danny? Are you back yet? What are you doing? Stop immediately. Sarah said excitedly. Sarah? I thought, who then confused. Confused. I looked at Sarah, not understanding what was happening. Danny, well, you're a maniac. This is Claire, my sister, if you remember. She and her husband came to visit us this morning. Are you crazy? Sarah said, pointing her finger at the frightened poor fellows who got out of the sheet. Honestly, Sarah, I did not know about it. I've already thought of the worst. You didn't warn me. Yes, I agree. I didn't have time to tell you, but this is not a reason to behave like that. Okay. I got it, guys. Sorry, please. I didn't know you were coming. A tense atmosphere faded over time, and we decided to enjoy this evening together. After that moment, I realized how much I value Sarah and how unpleasant her betrayal can be. This nasty feeling wandered in my head for a long time. As time went on, everything was fine in our family, but still a certain repulsion from each other was noticed. Sarah and I used to come up with new, interesting activities for almost every weekend, but now all this has begun to fade. I decided to rekindle the fire of our passion and bring romance back into our lives. It was a normal Friday. I worked the day shift that day to free up my evening. I found a great place on the edge of town. It was an inconspicuous section of the city park on a hill, where there was just an incredibly beautiful view of the city and the starry sky sparkled from above. It was the perfect place to have a romantic dinner. The time was approaching when Sarah had to finish her work. I knew they had to close early today to do some renovation work. I drove up to the restaurant. Then I got out of the car and went inside. Sarah was not at the administrator's post. Perhaps she has already begun to gather. Like the restaurant was not yet closed, but there were no customers at the tables. It was evident that the waiters had also left. I walked around the hall and headed towards the kitchen. I opened the kitchen doors and couldn't believe my eyes. The cook had my wife right on the table. Yes, Deputy, go deep into me, address with a groan Sarah to the cook. No, bitch. I'll show you how to fuck. That bastard was talking dirty. Anger completely clouded my mind. I didn't really understand what I was doing. I grabbed a frying pan off the table and threw it at the bastard. Oh, you nits. Get it, creature? I shouted, throwing the frying pan. I hit the bastard with a frying pan right in the head, which sent me flying off to the side. So what do you do at work? I looked furiously at Sarah. Danny, wait please. I understand what you saw, but let's first calm down and discuss everything. Just don't boil, Sarah tried to calm me down with. Calm me down with a trembling voice. Are you out of your mind, you creature? What the hell is there to discuss? You are a complete creature who cheats on her husband while he is preparing a romantic surprise for his beloved wife and is waiting for her from work. That's all the explanation. What are you, Sarah, making excuses to these bastards? You will answer me now. I will deal with you right here, and you will not be glad that you came to my kitchen. The cook got to his feet and began to threaten me. Come on, Neat, show what you can. Resist me, and it will be much more pleasant for me to beat all the nonsense out of you. I replied with hatred. This embittered idiot grabbed a cleaver that was lying on the table beside him, and shouting, "I'll kill you," ran at me. But then something very stupid and unimaginable happened. This bastard just slipped on the tomatoes, which were randomly scattered on the floor while these creatures were entertaining on the table. Everything happened so fast that I was just in shock. The cleaver fell out of the cook's hands and flew up. He fell with a sharp blade down near the very head of this bastard, almost depriving him of his right ear. But when this bastard fell, his hand caught a frying pan with boiling oil. Apparently, these bastards decided to have a delicious dinner after sex. But now this hot oil flew right on the bastard's face. He began to yell in an inhuman voice in pain. It was quite creepy to see all this. Obstrig 6. Danny, help, please. Call an ambulance, Sarah screamed in hysterics. Teen, I already helped you once, and I will not repeat such a mistake again. You deal with your bastard yourself, and I went to prepare for a divorce. Happy to stay, I spoke, turned around, and left. It was hard for me to recover from such a surprise. But I found the strength to cope with this pain and betrayal. I started a new life, in which I no longer sought to get close to the first people I met. Now I understood how it could all end. But despite my caution, I still managed to find a loved one. It was a wonderful girl named Kayla. Everything was fantastic with her, without unnecessary suspicions and worries. Our joint future promised to be very bright. But as for that cook and Sarah, their joint future was very dysfunctional. The cook suffered significant injuries and became crippled. Now he was a freak not only inside, but also outside. Sarah was fired from this job, and more, she could not find anything decent. She got into debt, and the court deprived her of all her property, leaving her literally on the street. But I didn't care anymore, and I didn't hear anything about her anymore. Now my thoughts were only about my future. Dear listeners, your support is very important to us. If you like our story, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very motivating for us.